Well, thank you, Mama V. Sorry that we had some loss of feed in the first transmission. But Maxwell, what should we be expecting here? Because already we can see that we need to go give the viewers what the picture really is. What initially did you see when you came here?
Well, we've seen a lot of police, officers here, police officers from the formed police units of the Ghana Police Service. They are actually outside. They've lined up the streets of right in front of a brass board here, line up the streets, all of them in protective gear. A lot of them also holding their guns, some of them sitting on police armored vehicles, parked here right in front. If you come inside also, we've seen quite a number, of police officers. Just some minutes ago, we had a director of operations, DCO Kosifori, actually addressing them. Some of the demonstrators are also in here, all of them holding their placards already. Now, what is happening is that when they get in here, they pick their placards and then they start. All right.
So let's give you a sneak preview of what we should be expecting. And currently, if you see, this is the converging center or the point. This used to house the Obra Sport. Now we have this monument here. We know that it was built as part of the whole structure of the edifice. That is the interchange here. You could see the placards reading, for example, this one has been reading, "Our future is at stake, Mr. President. Cheap shithole government. Why would you betray Ghana for money?" And we'll try as much as possible to also speak to officials of the NDC who have made their presence felt. And you can see that the crowd are just trickling in their small numbers consistently. We're hoping that we can have the rank and file, the top leadership of the party to have a certain progress toward what they have. Now, first, before we speak to the leadership and the top officials, let's speak to the convener of this event. The convener is Ablakwa, used to be a former SRC president of the University of Ghana, and now he's a convener. And you convened this event. Tell us what the rationale was or is about.
Well, the rationale for this particular gathering is for us to gather Ghanaians who are concerned about their security and who deeply are convinced that the president and the entire government did not act in the best interest of Ghana with regards to the US-Ghana military agreement that was recently ratified by Parliament.
And consistently, it's been a message that has been shared on social media, for which you've been able to rally mainly pro-NDC leaders here. Do you have other leaders or other personalities or groupings that are just going beyond the NDC?
Contrary to your assertion that most of the leaders here are mainly pro-NDC, I think that I have identified members and leaders of many other political parties. In fact, we wrote a letter and we invited all the political parties, including the New Patriotic Party. Most of the parties have responded positively, and that is why we see them here. Probably it's because the NDC have been in government before. You see some previous government officials, so they are the notable faces. But I can tell you that there are many Ghanaians here from all walks of life, people who do not belong to the NDC, who belong to different political parties. In fact, people who are here who don't even care which political party is ruling, but who are concerned about their security. So I think that Ghanaians are here in their numbers, and we believe before the protest end, we will be able to gather the number that...
You have agreed with the Ghana Police Service officials to make sure that security is maintained, and you have agreed on certain routes. What really are the routes for today's march?
Well, from here at Obra Sport, we'll be going to the Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, through to the Farisco traffic light, then to Ioko, and we'll end at the Hearts Park, where we'll have a mini rally of a sort for the some notable personalities to address us on this particular agreement.
What's the name of your group again?
Ghana First Patriotic Front.
Ghana First Patriotic Front.
Yes.
Do you have another group with the name Progressive in there?
No, since we announced the demonstration, we got lots of groups interested in joining, and they wrote to us. Some called us that they wanted to be a part. So all of us gathered here. We can say that we are progressive forces and all of that. But
well, thank you very much. Ablakwa is with the Ghana First Patriotic Movement, and they are starting all these initiatives. You can see the leaders of the NDC. Now let's give you a preview of what really is happening. You get to find that we're getting a mass up trickling in of those who will be part of the demonstrations in the first place, more so we have media personnel also present. You can have the demonstrators with various placards. This one, Baumia is a liar. 2020, we go show Nana, and then we have a couple of other placards that do not conform with the regular ones. For example, there's one, the Ghana-US military-based deal passed, not in my name. And you have one, Dr. Kobe Mensah. He is a social commentator, a lecturer of finance, marketing, political marketing, finance with the University of Ghana Business School, an ardent follower of myself. I follow him as well, commentator on social media. Good morning to you. Why do you decide to solidarize with today's movement, so to speak? Good morning to you, Dr. Kobe Mensah.
Good morning, Roland. I think that the issue at stake is very serious. It doesn't matter who is actually organizing it. I think that it is good for us to tell the American Congress that we're not interested in the deal that their government sent to Ghana, and therefore they must revisit the deal. And that is the reason why I'm making my voice heard. All
right, so the intent is you want to make sure that the clarion call is there consistently, making sure the message is there that the deal is not a good one.
Definitely.
Now, apart from you from academia, do you have any other of your kind who also share in your ideals and your beliefs?
Well, I think the cross-section of Ghanaians have actually sounded their disapproval. A lot of people have actually said that they don't agree with the deal that was given us. We're not saying that we don't agree with cooperation with countries, but the agreement is a very bad one. It's in a very bad taste. And I think that a cross-section of Ghanaians have made their voices heard. And I believe the Congress, American public must be told that the people of Ghana is being pushed by their government to accept a deal that a lot of people don't agree with. So they must actually reconsider it.
And that is Dr. Kobe Mensah with the University of Ghana Business School. He's a lecturer, he's a great social commentator. But you can just read this comment. Bill Factory is not a military base, so to speak. But we know that according to the convener of this great protest and movement, it's not only a pro-NDC movement, but also people who think socially alike. I have the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee for the minority in Parliament, but also the member of Parliament for the North Town constituency and former Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good to see you.
And you decided to be part of this whole protest march. It's not an NDC thing, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to be here, and this is a platform put together by the Ghana First Patriotic Front. As you do know, they wrote to us in the minority that they would want us to solidarize with them. We met, we discussed it, we looked at the leaders of the group and what their objectives are, and we said that it's very much in line with what we stand for. We have been protesting against this agreement in Parliament. We did all we could do in our power to block it. Unfortunately, we didn't have the numbers. Our colleagues on the other side, on the majority side, remain belligerent and very adamant and nonchalant. They were hell-bent on railroading the agreement, rushing it through Parliament, and what we consider to be an abuse of majority. And so, having walked out of Parliament, we served notice that that will not be the only action we will engage in. That will not be the last time the people of Ghana will hear from us in protesting against this agreement. So this is one of the options that we have decided to embark on to join this demonstration. It's a first step. We are considering other options, including legal suits, getting the Supreme Court to render that agreement null and void, because we hold strongly that the agreement before it came to Parliament ought to be executed in line with Article 75(2). It was not executed, and so Parliament engaged in an unconstitutionality. We are very clear in our minds about that, but we'll wait and hear what the eminent and venerable Supreme Court judges will say. We are also considering other manifestations, including public fora, lectures, and picketing. All we can do democratically and constitutionally within the remit of the law to put pressure on government on President Akufo-Addo to take Ghana out of this agreement, which is not in our interest. We also want the United States of America, our good friends, to see us and to see that we don't want a permanent military base in our country. We don't want a permanent military presence. We don't want an agreement signed in perpetuity, as Article 19 of the agreement clearly stipulates, so that they can also advise themselves and pull out of Ghana. Ghana should not be one of the countries they should be considering for this kind of agreement. Better still, this whole agreement can be reviewed and renegotiated so that we can have a win-win situation, which will be in the mutual beneficial interest of both countries. But as things stand now, the agreement is very lopsided and is very much against the national interests of Ghana, is against the sovereignty, is against our dignity, and it is an affront to our people. And that is why we are here protesting, joining the Ghana First Patriotic Front and all other civil society organizations joining us today, including other political parties who also declared their solidarity with this march.
Which are the other political parties joining in here, if you have any notes of them?
Yes, I do know that the People's National Convention, the chairman Bernard Mona spoke to the press yesterday and said that they will be joining us. I have heard Hassan Ayariga also indicate that they will join us. I have also heard that there are some elements of the CPP who will also be joining us today. So this is a broad-based platform, and we are glad that we have a broad platform and that we are doing this in a non-partisan way, thinking about our country, Ghana first. President Trump has been talking about America first. I was at the UN General Assembly when he addressed his colleagues, and he said that as for him, he's for America first, and he encourages all other national leaders to put their country first. So it is important that we also put our country first. President Akufo-Addo should also put Ghana first in this matter.
Well, thank you very much. And we've had the North Tongue Member of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, who is also a member, a ranking of the Foreign Affairs Committee. And the crowd have been massing up, so you can feel the presence of the crowd. And consistently, they've been vociferous. The numbers keep trickling in, even though we don't have the numbers as it is. And we'll be speaking to them very soon. Now, that's all right. Okay. I have James Kluche Aveji here with me. And good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
James Kluche Aveji is joining us. Good morning to you. You're clad in red, the appropriate colors that the whole movement is about for today, as convened by the convener, Adam Agbana. Now, I just had chance of the NDC and your political party songs. Basically, looks more NDC than anything, wouldn't you say?
Well, NDC is a big party. There's a chunk of Ghanaians living in Accra. So if you see majority of people here as NDC members, that tells you how strong the party is.
But you are a member of parliament. Yes. You're not only a member of parliament, you're a very experienced member of parliament. An agreement that has been passed by the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana holds. Why all these?
Well, the agreement had been passed by one side of parliament, not under a unanimous decision. This is the agreement which the minority of parliament worked out. We expressed our views. We told the speaker that we cannot be part of something that we think is not legal. First of all, the agreement was not executed because Article 75 of the Constitution, 75(2) of the Constitution, that says that the president shall execute or cause to be executed an agreement that will be ratified by Parliament. Now, this agreement was not signed, which means that the agreement was not executed, so we cannot be part of an illegality which frown on the Constitution. So what are we actually even ratifying if there is no agreement at all? That is number one. Number two, the agreement came that Parliament cannot make any amendment to the provisions of that agreement, which means that those provisions that we think are not in the best interest of Ghana, we cannot make any change. So are we to rubber stamp that agreement? We don't want to be part of the process where we will be rubber stamping something, though we think that as the people's representatives, it is not in the best interest of our people. We should go and rubber stamp it. Now, based on these two reasons, we told Mr. Speaker that we cannot be part of that process, and we walk out. So yes, the agreement has been passed by Parliament, but try to qualify it that it was passed by only one side of the House.
That is binding on you or not, whether you walked out?
It is binding on the people of Ghana, including me, and that is why this demonstration is drawing down to the president that the agreement that was passed by his party in Parliament is something that is not in the best interest of this country. They should look at it again, bring it back to Parliament. Parliament should be given the power to amend those provisions that we think are not in the best interest of this country. That will support it. Because we know that military cooperation exists between Ghana and the US. So we cannot say that will not continue. But the new agreement is not in the best interest of this country. And that is the reason why we don't want to be part of it. So yes, the agreement should be brought back to Parliament. Parliament should be allowed to amend those provisions that will be in the best interest of this country, that we all support it. But as it is now, we want to tell the president that it is not good for us as a country. And we want to tell all Ghanaians that if they don't rise up to tell the president that what he has done is not in the interest of this country, then when the effect of this agreement start to have repercussion on the people of this country, we in minority, NDC should not be blamed, but the MPP.
What are the effects? There will be no effect. There will be no military base to be established or built in Ghana. That's a consistent refrain we keep hearing from government.
One of the effects is that the U.S. Army and their contractors can enter this country without visa. That is one. They can enter this country without visa, and visa also bring in revenue to us. That is one. Another one is that all the equipment that they are bringing are tax-free. Once they are tax-free, we are also losing revenue. Another effect is that they can have access to our installations. Installations that are to protect the security of this country. The U.S. military can have access to it. When they have access to these installations, what are they coming to do that we should not even have protection to decide whether we should monitor them or not? All this can have effect on us as Ghanaians. And these military men, the U.S. military men, will come to this country. They walk free around. They mingle with us. We don't know what they'll be doing. There are certain things that people are even thinking that this is a way that this country is allowing same-sex, gradually bringing same-sex into this country. You know, U.S. has endorsed same-sex.
Well, but that's going above the board and trivializing trivializing the issues.
It's a process of indoctrinating.
All right, but before I let you go, though, I know what the refrain and the consistent position of you and the members of your party as well as this movement is. The Deputy General Secretary of your party, Koku Anyidoho, is just behind the BNI cells. We know he's been charged for treason. Our correspondent consistently have been on the beat. But what's your position on his arrest? What he said in the first place and subsequently his arrest and detention?
What he said has been described by them as a treason.
What do you think it is?
Well, it is for the court to decide that. I don't think what he said is treasonable. Go to the Constitution, read what constitutes a treasonable act. Look at it and see what Koku said is something that is treasonable. So first of all, what he said is challengeable in court. Now, allow or grant him bail, get him his lawyers, send him to court, let him go and defend himself in court. Why are you detaining him? Why you don't want to allow him to be bailed? So my concern is that whether it's treasonable act or what, allow him to defend himself in court. Because there is no case now in Ghana that are not bailable. That's it.
So, well, we wish all the best for today's match. And that's Member of Parliament for Ketu North, James Kluche Aveji. But there are a number of scenes taking place here. You can find media present, and consistently we've had media personnel coming to make sure that they undertake their work just like all of us. You can see a number of them as well.